adding to our story, we have two speakers, and we are going to start with Udama. Of course.
My name is Udama. I'm a grateful recovering addict. Hey, and I'm probably going to stand. I was so excited they kind of asked me yesterday to do this. Honey, you would think I was getting ready to speak in front of President Obama. I was so excited. It's a huge privilege to be able to share a part of who I am with who you are and who you're going to be. So I'm honored and I'm grateful and I'm thankful. We don't care how much you use, who your connections were, what you've done in the past, how little or how much you have, but only in what is your problem and how we can help. The newcomer is the most important person in any meeting because we can only keep what we have by giving it away. So that's why it was such a huge honor. So you guys don't know me, so I showed up September 4th, I don't even want to get to when I showed up, but September 4th, 1994, I couldn't stop using. I wanted to stop, and everything on the inside of me was crying out, stop! And physically, I couldn't put the pipe down. It was burning my hands, it was already pushed it through, I had cuts all in my hand, and I hadn't met y'all yet, and I was stuck. And I was crying on the inside, leave. Am I in the right place? Am I the only one? I'm just wondering. I couldn't stop. I wanted, so for like 7 years, I went to the church house. At this point, my family knew I had a problem, and so she did what she knew to do. She prayed. And she said, UD, I'm from Nigeria. She said, UD, you have to go to church and be delivered. And so I go to the church house, and I whisper in the preacher's ear. I said, I'm struggling with drugs, and I can't stop. He'd say, in the neck, that name they use it. They lay hands on me, and I fall out. And I get on the martyr, and I swear this time, I'm not going to use, Tyrell, I'm not going to use, damn it. And in Atlanta, we gave the disease a name. And we called the disease the General. Because all he does is bark orders. So I'd be on that train after a good church service, and I'm not going to use, and I meant it. And the diseases say, man, fuck that. 1, 2, 3, get off at the next stop, now. And I just was so used to that voice, that's what I just did. And I get off, and I cry, and I felt terrible, and I felt ashamed, and it happened over and over and over again. And so, September 5th, I tried to steal some steaks. I wasn't a stick-up kid. I wasn't a great hustler. I came from an affluent family, and so, the only thing I knew how to get drugs was Mom would send Western Union, and so my brothers had intervened, and they were the first ones who knew, hey, you know what I'm talking about? Like, you be the last one to know you're an addict, and everyone else knows years before you're an addict. And so they said, Mom, you're enabling him. You have to stop. And so, yeah. And so the time that she didn't pick up the phone, I went and I tried to steal some steaks. 6 a.m, crack of dawn, and eyes bloodshot red, looking like a mess. Now, I forgot to tell you that previous night, my uncle came into town and he gave me $1,000 in 1994. And so I went to the crack house and announced to everyone, I've got $1,000. Everyone's getting high on me. So there were some girls that showed up. And they said, ooh, we're going to take you to the back room. I said, the back room? Because I didn't know what went on back there. I was kind of naive. I didn't know. And so I said, the back room. And they took me back and they rubbed all on me and my pants fell to the ground and the lights came back on. They said, you got to get the hell on. And they had stole my $1,000. And they put me out. So I went and got a fifth of Wild Irish Rose and I chugged that down. And I marched back to that house and I knocked on the door. And the dope boy answered the door with a knife. And the knife, the blade of the knife was this long and this thick. And so he's hit me. We fell into the crack house the whole time he was stabbing. In my side. They put me out to die, and the ambulance came, and they said that the blood was 20 feet in a circle. They rushed me to Grady Hospital. They resuscitated me, the defibrillators, all of that, and so I came back, and guess who the first person that came to visit me was?
Mom.
The general.
Oh.
He said, psst, you hid $20 in your sock. And when I reached my hand down and felt that crisp, the general said, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I started pulling them 5 feet out. Now this is with the hospital booty out gown on. Ass out in the middle of the day. And so I'm having this conversation with myself, which I later found out was a disease. And I said, well, we don't know where to come from. Fuck that. Go back to the guy who stabbed you and apologize to them for fucking up their high. The insanity. And I did what the general said. With the hospital booty out gown on, marching up Peachtree like it was normal. Can you imagine that?
Oh, yeah.
Get to the crack house, the dope boy's like, yo, oh my God, almost killed you, what do you want? I said, I just need one more. Just one more. Sit your bitch ass down and wait. Sanity's repeating the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So I got a 20, 2 dimes, I hit the one, got paranoid, hit the other one for myself, and they put me out. So that's when I took matters into my own hands and marched up to the Winn-Dixie. 6 in the moon and cracked it down. While the guy is putting out steak, right? You know, the people that put the meat out in front of my truck. They said, dumbass on aisle 6 stealing steak. The bag boy who was 16 kicked my ass. How many of you know that God would do for you what you find impossible to do for yourself? They put me in the back of the police car. And the policeman said, well, what's a fine young man like you doing stealing steaks? I hadn't met you. I didn't know about no 12 steps. I didn't know no such thing as NA or AA or any of the goddamn A's existed. And somehow, I said, I'm an addict. They sent me to Georgia Regional. I don't know if you guys know about Georgia Regional. Everybody in there is like really crazy. Not pretending crazy. I'm talking about hitting their head on the wall crazy. And I was looking like, yo, if I ever get a chance, I'm never getting high again. And so then they transferred me to a treatment facility. And in that treatment facility, I came in, I was a little bit suspicious, all these guys hugging other guys, and I was like, man, I don't do that shit. I don't go that way. You know, I'm all street and all that. So it didn't make sense. And so I'm sitting in the back. I'm sitting in the back of the meeting, and they got all these catchy ass phrases. Take the cotton out of your ears, put it in your mouth, dummy up so that you can catch up. All of that cute shit. And I'm like, wow, these guys kind of rhyme, you know, like rappers. So to me, they had my attention because they were like rapping and shit. So I'm sitting in the back. I'm all quiet and shit. And so one guy raises his hand. He says, if you don't pick up, I said, what? With my Morehouse educated ass. That shit was brilliant. So I came to my next meeting. Another guy raised his hand. He said, one was too many and 1,000 is never enough. I said, man, I've been trying to do one. So I was slowly being restored to sanity. So then I got me a week clean. They said, get a sponsor. I got a sponsor. I got a home group, and life was good. But I forgot that I came in with more than the disease of addiction, because I came in with this other disease called the know-it-alls. So I'm in this treatment facility telling them how they need to run they treatment facility. And so with 30 days clean, I had a hot 30 days clean, and they put me out. I said they put me out with 30 days clean. But it was already too late, because I already heard the message. Our message is that an addict, any addict, can stop using drugs, lose the desire to use, and find a new way to live. Our message is hope. Then they said, never have we seen a person relapse who lives this Narcotics Anonymous program. I said, oh shit, that's me. And I called my sponsor, and I got a new place to live, and then I got a new job, and so I kept making meetings, and life was good, and I was recovering like a motherfucker, and then, you know, so I really wasn't, you guys, this make girls may understand, I was not very active in my addiction, right? Yeah. So nothing. And so when I got clean, things started coming back to life. You understand? And so and so then I got some. So in my mind, I said, shit, I've been using for 10 years, never got none. And so now I'm clean for a little bit over 6 months, and I'm getting some. I said, shit, I ain't never going back to using. No, whatever works for you. Whatever, that's what they say, whatever keeps you coming. And so then I got clean. And so this is my story. So whatever works for you. None and getting some. I said, shit, I'm staying on the recovery side. This is way better. And so, you know, so I'm in my home group, and life is good, and this and that. And so I heard them, they used to say, like, what's truly needed for recovery is a personality change. When you take the actions indicated in the steps, the results are a change in our personality. Well, what actions are you talking about? Well, I'm glad that you asked. They say when you practice this thing called honesty, right? Instead of lying, and then you get a little better. And then when you've got this thing called despair going on, you get some hope by generally going to a meeting, and you usually hear someone's already been through what you've been through. And then you get this thing called faith. Well, what is faith? Well, faith is just believing in something, and believing in something that you really can't see. And so then my sponsor explained to me that he said, well, it was this power greater than you that saved your life when you got stabbed. It was a power greater than you that's been protecting you your whole life. So now that you're trying to do the right thing, it should be easier for you to believe in this power greater than yourself. I said, bing, wow, the light bulb came on. But then in the third step, it said, turn our will and our life over to the care of God. So I was in, you mean to tell me I have now made a decision to turn my thinking and my actions, my life over to the care of this God that controls the universe? And so what he was telling me is now I don't have to fear because I'm in God's care. See, a lot of times when people do this stuff, they miss that word. It's in God's care. See, because here's the thing. If you give a baby to the grandmother, there is no fear because you already know the grandmother's going to take good care of that baby. Where's the baby? Oh, she with grandma. Oh, okay, everything's okay. So I had to understand that being in God's care, like a little baby, I didn't have to fear. They told me, first thing to do is stay clean. Because staying clean makes other stages of recovery possible. Are you serious? So the first thing to do is do what? Stay clean. Because it does what? Makes other stages of recovery possible. So then I kept going through the steps, and I did step 4 and wrote out everything. And then step 5, I shared it with my sponsor. Then I got to step 6. It was real tricky because I had this character defect, and it was anger and anger and anger and anger, and I really was angry at myself for fucking up my life. And so I had this thing called anger, and they told me old behavior leads to old results. So you got to change one thing, and that one thing is everything. I said, oh my God, that's a whole lot, but change one thing, and that one thing was everything. So I'm working, and life is good, and I'm getting some, and so... Okay. So I'm getting some, and so I'm like, shit, this recovery shit is great. And so I'm working, and I'm skycapping, and I'm at the airport, and I'm making a whole lot of money, and life is good, and I mean, life is just perfect. And so, of course, you're gonna deal with some haters. If you're being positive and you're on the spiritual journey, understand that there's gonna be some haters. And so I was skycapping, and a guy picked a fight with me just out of nowhere. F you, this and that. And see, my history was fighting, and I understood that my old behavior would lead to old results. And I didn't want to relapse. And so I was scared to death. And the guy spit on me. Spit dead in my face. A noogie. I'm talking about a noogie. And somehow God did for me what I found impossible to do for myself. And something came in between us, and it forced me to step back. And I wiped it off. And so then everybody came and it broke it up. And so I knew one thing to do. Back then we didn't have cell phones, so you always had to have a quarter, keep a quarter with you, because that's how much it costs to make a call. And I called my sponsor. He said, tell your manager that you need to go home and this and that, and you need to get to a meeting. And so I'm messed up, man. This guy done spit in my face. So now I get on the train again, and you know the general's still kind of hanging around. And so I've got something going on that looks like Tourette's. Right? And I'm on the train, and the recovery angel's saying, way to go, turn the other cheek. And the disease is saying, oh, you are such a pussy. You fucking pussy. You need to stop and you really need to get high after that shit you just went through. So I got this thing going. I'm looking crazy on the train. And so I get off at the wrong stop. I got my skycap hat on. And so I got off at Oakland City, which back then was the Bluff. Yep. And I'm walking, got 9 months clean, and I'm going through some emotional battle. And I heard y'all tell me that when you're not emotionally sound, you cannot be around people, places, or things that remind you of using. And so I'm walking, and I see 2 dope boys. And they said, got them boulders for your shoulders. Now I just kept pretending like I didn't hear them. And they started to run towards me. Guess what I did? The most spiritual thing I could do. I ran. Because as soon as he went like this to show me that dope, if I would have looked at that dope, we wouldn't be having this meeting. Not with me here. Right. It might have been somebody else, it wouldn't be me. And I ran. And I got another day. And then I got a year. And the woman that I stole from, the woman that was my enabler, she came to my anniversary. And they all understand all this in Africa. Where I'm originally from Nigeria. She said, oh, you people have done such a wonderful job with my baby. She said, you're marvelous. Very good. And so I got that year, and I got 5 years. And I got 7 years. Then I got 10 years. Then I got 12 years. And at my 12 years, I had worked all 12 steps. And so at that point, God said, it's time for you to do some service work, baby. and I ran into 30 teenagers at a place called Project Adventure, which is a teen recovery center in Covington by them. Youngest one 9, oldest one 15. And I got to share with them like I never shared before. Everything I thought was a mistake, I shared with them. They came to my 12th year anniversary, and little Timmy said, I was going to go back and get high, but Mr. Udama is like a father figure to me. This is a little white boy. He said, Mr. Udama is like a father figure. So Udama doesn't like people that get high, so I'm not getting high anymore. And the whole place just bust out in tears. See, the thing about being a recovering addict, there's a poem called The Dash, and it talks about what's really important in between the time that you're born and the time that you die. But see, for us, we have really 2 dashes, because there's a time that we were born, and then there was a time that we were born again. See, we were born into this recovery process. So what are you doing in between your dash? Who are you helping in between your dash? Whose life are you making better in your dash? And so then, life kept going on. And the funny thing about God doesn't need anyone's permission. He doesn't need anyone's permission. And so then I was speaking somewhere, and there was a lady there from SAMHSA. You guys know what SAMHSA is? Center of Substance Abuse and Mental Health. Right? That's the federal agency over everything recovery, everything drug abuse. And so she asked me to become a youth expert at this symposium where they put together a recovery care model. That care model is still right now in use. So I get up there, and I'm in Washington, D.C. with the most brilliant, now I'm talking about everybody got 3 letters behind their name. So if you just had a master's, you weren't even in the game. They were PhDs, MSW, LS, whatever it is, LS, licensed social worker, whatever it is. And so all of these people, these are the most brilliant minds in the United States of America, and then my fucking junkie ass. 40 of them and me. And so the big debate is, check this out, the big debate is, are we gonna do what's called a moderation model? So their thought is, because teenagers can't just stop using, we want to moderate them down a little bit. And something in me was, and so it was a 3-day plan. And so all of the experts are like, yes, the moderation model is great because we have studies that do this, and this. And so toward the 3rd day, I just got fed up, and I raised my hand, and they said, well, go ahead, sir, we haven't heard much from you. And I said, well, the thing was, they wanted to take the word abstinence out of the recovery care model, period, and change it to moderation. Now, this is the national model, right? And so I raised my hand, and I had been praying for those 2 days, and I remember this popping up in my eyesight, and it was just for today, and everything had to do just for today, and just for today. And I said, what about daily abstinence? Which is really the same thing as abstinence, right? They bought that shit. And they it's the same thing, isn't it? Abstinence is death, because we just for today. That's why God. So I was there, and I was able to affect a positive change in the lives of millions of people who are affected. If we would have put in moderation, how many people know someone who used again and died?
Yeah. Yes.
We were going to give them a goddamn loaded weapon and kill us. And God wasn't going for that. What have you done in your dash? That's why if you're a newcomer, you can't quit. You can't quit now. It's a brand new beginning, baby. You can't quit now. I mean, you got to get ready. God is excited about your future. Everyone that's in this meeting, everyone who's a recovering person, you've been through hell and back. Now it's time to enjoy life. My favorite little quote is that live, laugh, and love. Because that's what it's about. What are you putting in your dash? We don't quit, man. Winners never quit, and quitters never win. I'm going to say that again. Winners never quit, and quitters never win. Which one are you? See, we got to go through the 12 steps to become what? Of service. So it's really not about you, boo. Nah, boo, it ain't about you, boo. See, when you work the steps, you understand it ain't about you, boo. It's because there's someone who may not be able to get it from Udama, who can get it from my man in the hot Puma shirt. Who can get it from this lady? Who can get it from the lady in the Auburn shirt? Who can get it from the man in the New York shirt? So what God does is he picks us up. He picks us out of his bouquet and he makes us a bouquet for people that are getting ready to come. So we can't quit. We got to be able to endure the storm. There's one thing more than anything else that would defeat us in our recovery. This is what? An attitude of intolerance or indifference towards spiritual principles. What does intolerance mean? They're unable or unwilling to endure. It's not going to be easy, but it'll be worth it. I said it's not going to be easy, but it'll be worth it. So now, I just celebrated 21 years clean. The book says often we have to face some sort of crisis, such as death of a loved one. So my mother died. I went to Africa to bury her. Hardest thing I've had to do. In Africa, they drink everything. They don't need no reason. So I'm there. I'm the baby boy. And so in where I'm from, you got to get the blessings of the chiefs. Now, the youngest chief is 92. There's 10 of them. Like the oldest one's like 105. And so they got guards with the big machetes and all of that. So anytime you want to do something, if you want to have a funeral, you got to get their blessings. And so I come, and so here's the thing: you have to bring liquor to the chiefs. You can't talk to them unless you bring liquor. And so I come in, and I got like this liter of I think it was Absolute vodka or something. So you got to kneel first, and you come in and you kneel and you present it to them. And the chief stood up. He said, "No. You're from U.S., we want Remy Martin." So they sent me back out to go get the Remy. I brought the Remy back in. And so you got to drink libation, meaning that you have to drink to the life of someone who was relatively influential, like my mother. She was the first woman in Nigeria to ever wear slacks, first woman to ever have a postgraduate degree. So she was, she was really to be reckoned with, and so when they're pouring libation, right, they pour it and everyone takes a shot, and so everyone took a shot, and the chief stood up. You have to drink to your mother, and the guard ran over to me with the machete because that's the worst disrespect. And my brother said, "Oh, please, please, please," and he went to the chief and he whispered in his ear. Still don't know what he said, but the chief stood up. He said, "Nobody give that boy nothing to drink." No, this is a real story. Because my brother was like, "We're not going through that one there again." And so I came out of that. And sometimes trouble happens in threes, right? So while I was burying my mother, I got fired from my job. My car got repossessed. They were evicting me. And I remember going through the book. I believe it's page 103 in the 6th edition. It says, often we have to face some sort of crisis, such as death of a loved one, financial difficulties, or divorce. These are the realities of life. But one thing is for sure, we must not use no matter what. Thank you for letting me share.
All right, thank you so much, Udom, for sharing. And now we have Tim.
Thank you. Hey, family, I'm a grateful addict. Problems, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
First of all, I'd like to thank God for another day clean. Thank God for people like you and Narcotics Anonymous without to be lost and dead. And it's an honor to be of service today. It's a damn good day to be clean. I think I was listening to you share, and I loved it, man. I love the energy that you threw off.
Thank you.
My story's a little different because I don't like to talk about what got me here too much in meetings because that makes no sense to me today. And I'll explain why a little bit. I'll put it this way. In the short, I have 17 felonies. I spent a lot of years in and out of prison. I've killed and I've been stabbed. I've been shot. I've sold dope. Now I'm here. Okay? I earned my seat. That simple. If you guys want to know more, talk after the meeting. I'm more about the solution. I've been around the program for about 24 years. First time straight out of prison, 1994. Didn't get it. Came to a few meetings, did what the judge asked, took off. 6 years or so, came back by. I came back for another wrong reason. It was a nudge from the judge again. 6 felonies later, let's fast forward to 2001. 2001 was the first year I ever really got a taste of recovery and about the solution. And the solution is no matter what, don't fucking use. Period. And I got a little bit of clean time. I did a little bit of step work. And I did the 1, 2, 3 shuffle. Went back out. That was white key tag number 8. Let's fast forward to 3,220 just for 2 days ago when I came back in and got my last white key tag number 26. I came in and I surrendered. And I surrendered totally. I asked this person to sponsor me and he says, "Are you okay that you don't know?" And I had sponsors in the past always ask me, "Are you okay that you don't know?" And I'm like, "I know fucking everything. You can't fucking tell me shit. I'm from the fucking streets." And I'm really not. I'm not from the fucking streets, man. You know? I grew up with a great family, y'all. I was the one that chose to go out there and be in the fucking streets. I'm not from the fucking streets.
Oh my God.
You know? I said, fuck, that guy can do it. I want to do it. You know? I was insane. When I got clean, I chose the most elegant speaking person that I could hear in a meeting. And I went to thousands of meetings my first year, but he just spoke with this elegance and love for this program. I fucking wanted that. I came up to him and he goes, "Okay, call me for 30 days. Okay, he goes, and I said, "Well, what do you want me to do in between that?" He goes, "I want you to build a fucking network that makes sense. Don't get these people with the same clean time, Tim. You can talk to them, say hello, but you need to get people with multiple years clean and talk to their asses. Go to multiple meetings. Introduce yourself to every meeting. Walk around the whole fucking room, give hugs." You know. So my first year, that's what I did. I did everything he told me to do and then some. He said, "Call me twice a day." I called him 5 times a day. You know, because I didn't know what the fuck to do. I was okay with not knowing what the fuck to do. I saw where my way used to get me. And obviously I didn't want to go back that way. And I knew he couldn't do any friggin' worse. So that whole first year was the foundation of my entire recovery to date. And it still grows each day. I do the same thing I did the first day clean. I don't use no matter what. I get down on my knees and I pray every single morning. I meditate right after that. I read the Just for Today on a daily basis. I read literature besides the Just for Today on a daily basis. I go to meetings on a regular basis. I'm very consistent in the structure of my recovery because I was told by some hardcore motherfuckers, if you don't get some consistency in your recovery, you're going to find a little gap and you're going to be okay with that gap. And then all of a sudden that gap's going to be this big, and then this big, and then this big. Okay, I don't need to go to fucking meeting anymore. I don't need to call you. I don't need to try to have to fucking relate to any of y'all anymore. I got this shit. I got a little clean time. I'm pretty good, man. Almost 18 years on paper. I'm 3 years clean to paper now. You know, and that was something that I never thought I would ever see when I got clean this time around. You know, I didn't think I was going to live that far. I didn't think that I had a chance. But somebody always told me that you have hope. And without hope, I ain't got shit today. I follow directions today to the best of my ability. I ain't perfect by far. I'm a crazy, sick-ass son of a bitch if I let myself. Trust me. Ask my sponsor over here. He'll fucking tell you.
I knew it. I knew that was your sponsor.
But I live in a solution today, guys, and I don't live in a problem. And it's so important for me to to say that out loud. Live in the solution and not the problem. You know, my problem for me is I'm an addict and my problem's him. Okay, I'm definitely an addict, but my problem, the core of my problem, is me up here. The way I thought, and then that was the way I reacted to those thoughts, and that's what got me to the dope man. And every time I was at the dope man, the last 11 times I picked up motherfucking felons. And it sucked. I remember the first time I was shot. I was 27 years old, and we were at a big old party down in Buckhead. And some asshole just comes in there, and he was drunk as hell, and just started shooting up this big-ass mansion. I didn't even know I was shot. I just started running. And then my girlfriend at the time said, "Hey, you're bleeding." I have fucking a hole this size of this on the side of me, just shit coming out, man. And I didn't even feel it, didn't even know because I was so fucking high. Went to the hospital, they sewed me back up. 6 surgeries later, all the stitching and all the other shit. There's just a little bitty scar here on the side now, but it's a memory for me. I've been stabbed, 7 or 8 different times because of this stupid ass addiction. I was that crazy white boy that walked down in the bluffs, and I would knock on a door. If I couldn't get nobody at that fucking door, I'd go to the next door. And if I couldn't get anybody at that door, there's the next door. And this wasn't in the middle of the fucking day. This was at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. You know? And I'm a crazy redneck motherfucker. I always have a gun on me. You know? So if some motherfucker tries to rob me, I'm gonna rob their ass. And that happened a few fucking times down there in the bluffs. I had some motherfuckers come up to me and say, "Hey, give me your money." And I'm like, "No, give me your dope."
There you go.
I did it many a times. Give me your fucking dope. You ain't having my money. I left there with dope and my money, you know? And they learned. They said, "Stay away from that crazy fucker." I'm glad I don't live that way anymore.
Okay.
How I add to my story today is I continue to do what my predecessors told me to do. Carry the message. You know? Not the crap. Hey, if you guys want to talk about what got us here, that's great. Let's talk about it down the road or outside the room having coffee. The solution is don't use, no matter what, period. Work some steps. Find some peace within self, because that's what the steps have brought me. Then I learned about the traditions. You know, the first tradition is so important for me. All of them are. Because I am a service junkie. And I'll tell you this, because I was told to be of service and do service. And in turn, you find peace within self and you learn selflessness. Mm-hmm. So I am a service junkie. There's not a day that goes by that I don't try to be of service or be in service. I've held multiple positions in my area because I was able to. My predecessors, they voted me in. They showed me how to do it. It's so important. How many people in here have like less than 6 months clean? Raise your hand. Anybody? You guys are the most important people. You know, and I don't hear this in that many meetings anymore. Newcomer's the most important person in any freaking meeting. It needs to be said more. Because 9, 10 years ago, it was said in every freaking meeting I went to. Now it is not. And I go to a lot of meetings. You know, we can only keep what we have by giving it away, but if we're giving it away to the same people, then we're not really giving away. You know? We need you guys. I need that reality check when somebody comes up and picks up a white key tag. Because if I go to enough meetings and I don't see that white key tag being picked up, that kind of throws away that hope that kept me and keeps me here. What are we not doing right? So I go to other meetings, you know. One thing I forgot to say when I got clean is I was facing 33 years. And the judge up in Cherokee County says, "I'm going to give you a chance." And he goes, "You come back here in 6 months, all right, and we'll see where you're at." Because he already knows me very well by my first name. Oh. So I really put forth that effort, that 6 months. Came back, and I was fully expecting him to throw me underneath the fucking jail. Come to find out, he stood me up in a whole fucking huge-ass courthouse and straight up said, he showed my picture when I got arrested, 140 pounds. Me then, 190 pounds. And he goes, "This is what happens when you stop doing dope and do the right thing." Floored me.
Wow.
He goes, "I don't ever do this. I'm giving you 7 years probation, intense probation, $35,000 fine. If I hear about your name, you're going to prison for life." And it was a no-brainer. Well, I talked to my lawyer because I looked over to my lawyer, and my lawyer was expecting me to be thrown underneath the jail. He had no fucking clue the judge was going to do that shit. No clue. So So I look over my lawyer, I'm like, what the fuck? He goes, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, Ted. Don't say a word. Because I was going to be like, well, wait, shut up. I get out of there, and as I walk out of the courtroom, there's about 25 of my friends in recovery that I've really gotten to know this last 6 months. Come to find out, and my sponsor was there. My sponsor took a number of people to the judge the day before and the DA. And they said something for me. I never asked a single thing from them. They took it upon themselves because they saw something in me to go up there and try to help. And since I've been clean, we've done that a few times with a few other recovering addicts in my area. And it's actually helped and not hurt. You know, recovery is so important to me in my life, and to carry that message that any addict can stop using and lose the desire to use and find a new way to live. But you gotta fucking try. You gotta want this shit. I don't know about you, when I was fucking full-fledged in dope, man, I wanted that shit so bad. I just put about 60% of that effort into recovery, man, I got like 300% back, y'all. You know, I am in the midst of filing with a lawyer about getting some of my felonies taken off my record. I can fucking vote now. Okay?
Right.
That's important. I don't know about y'all, but all my life I never thought voting was worth a shit. Fuck that idiot up there. Man, seeing the way the fucking United States is right now and how fucked up we're going on around here, man, we need help bad. You know? I'm a productive member of society. I have keys to like a $5.5 million building with another $5 million worth of shit in there. I'm a fucking multi-time felon. Y'all, multi-time. Nobody ever trusted my ass. Somebody trusts me today. Because I'm not the person I used to be. I'm not even the person I wanted to be. I'm something else. You get what I'm saying? My higher power has brought me way behind. When I got clean, I was told to write down a list of what I wanted to accomplish. Man, I was so fucking short. People want to be around me. People want to talk to me. People trust shit like life and death shit with me. People were there for me, so I try to be there for everybody else. I talk to an average of 12 addicts a day, no lie. And that includes my sponsees. But I only have 6 sponsees. But I talk to them every day. Because since the first day I was clean, I was told to build that structured life. Even if it's just calling somebody and say, hey, how you doing today? You know, you never know when their day is worse than yours. You know? So I keep what I have by giving it away. Somebody did that for me. Somebody picked up the phone for me. When I ass was on fire. Even when my ass wasn't on fire, I still picked up the phone. I have a lot of fucking fun in recovery. And I'll tell you this, because this is something that I promised myself when I got clean. That I'm not going to get clean and be an absolutely boring son of a bitch. I want to go have some fucking fun. You know? I want to go fucking camping. I want to go do whatever we fucking want and have fun. Go swimming, play volleyball, do whatever. Be a part of, not apart from. You know? And today I still try to do that. I'm a family man for the first time. I'm almost 43 years old, y'all. Never had any children, all right? I met this beautiful woman in recovery, and she had these 2 beautiful daughters. Today, I adopted these daughters because they've never had fathers in their lives, never once. I'm their first true, honest-to-goodness person that was around there to be there for me, and I couldn't have done it without Narcotics Anonymous in the program. Without these fathers and these mothers showing me the way of how to be a father, I couldn't have done it. I have the utmost respect. And I'll tell you this, for the single moms in recovery, I do. Dads are great, that's awesome, but the moms in recovery, if you look at statistics, y'all, women have a harder time sticking and staying than men do. Period. It's 7-1. You know, you have it stacked against you, and being a mom is just so much, I just have so much respect for y'all. I love going to meetings and seeing moms bring their little kids in here. Because their recovery is so fucking important. I love that shit. My kids were growing up in this program. They loved coming to meetings. They have friends of my friends from their meetings that my friends bring their kids to the meetings. They respect what this program has done for their mother and me. So in turn, man, this is still a reason for me to keep coming back, keep doing what I did yesterday. If you want this, come fucking get it. If you're not sure you want this, keep fucking coming.
That's right.
Straight up. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you.
I'm Karen, I'm an addict. We've got some time left, so we'll open the floor if anyone would like to share. Go ahead.
Chef Rennie.
Okay.
I'm a recovering addict. My name is Arthur.
Hey, Arthur.
Hi, family. Adding to our story, it's our convention theme. And I was a part of the convention subcommittee this year. And so it really means a lot for me to be sitting in this meeting right now, because I'm currently adding to my story. I don't know, perhaps I thought that when I got clean and stopped using, that everything was going to be okay. And I read, I think it was on page 100 of the 5th edition, where it said that oftentimes we would possibly run into the joblessness and the homelessness and all of that stuff, and I couldn't believe it. I just highlighted it because I didn't believe it could strike me. You know, that was going to defeat the purpose of getting clean to me. And my recovery seems to be a never-ending cycle of all this stuff to, I don't know, to depress me or to frustrate me or just to possibly get me to surrender and return to that horrible way of living. At 7 years clean, that was 96, I believe, the bottom fell out and I lost the job and lost the possessions and had to really practice some faith, and I thank you for sharing about being the baby in God's arms, because when my life goes to hell, that's about the only thing I have to hold on to. The fact that you all always have shared with me that he never brought me this far to leave me now. Because within me still is the fear of what's coming next. I'm still unable to paint the picture of roses and tulips and butterflies. Okay? I still got in my gut that fear of loss, lack, and failure. Journaling is important, because if I believed what was in my head, there would be no gratitude in my heart. But every day of my 26 years plus of recovery haven't been like that. But when does it stop? So we come what? Adding to our story. I'm in another cycle of what I interpret to be lost. But I know that it isn't. I lost my spot on the committee. I lost my job. Lost my bank account. You know, I got all of that. But on a couple more days, I'm going to be adding my mother. Because my siblings are no longer able to care for her. So it's my turn now. So I don't have a job right now. Maybe that's what it was about. But for the last 3 months, I have just truly isolated, come out every once in a while to catch a meeting. And 2 nights ago, I felt myself so low that I knew I had to do something. So I called one of my friends in recovery. And she fed me like I fed others. You know? I didn't do a damn thing she told me to do. She said, write a gratitude list, read Recovery and Relapse, and call me in the morning. I ain't do none of that, but I felt so grateful that I was at least able to pick up the phone and dial the number. And then today, family, it's like it's a new day. It's not so bleak and dark. I washed dishes. I took out the trash, you know. I still got a lot of cleaning to do for Mama, but I'm out of the bed. It's adding to my story. That even though things don't go the way I think they're supposed to go, still, I must not use no matter what. And I must trust this process and continue with my faith in God. That what's before me, y'all, but never mind, we won't go there. Because he's a tricky thing. Just doesn't work like I think he ought to or should or whatever. And so it's scary because I can't second guess it. But I just got to believe that it's going to be okay. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you.
Thank you.